Hello and welcome to the show. This is Everything Under the Sun. My name is Ty. Hope all of you are doing fantastic out there. I have some friends that are visiting in town, and they've never been in Northern California or in the Redwoods, and it's kind of one of those situations where you have new people experiencing the same thing you've experienced before, but because it's new for them, it kind of becomes new for you in some kind of way. I don't know. I've just loved this experience of just traveling around and showing people things that I've already seen because it feels like there's just like a newness to it, like a magic to it. I'm not really sure if any of you have experienced that, but it's really just amazing. I love just sharing these experiences with people, and I think that's how we connect better by sharing these experiences, sharing the things that are like the magic in our lives. I think that's what brings us closer and makes other people realize that this kind of magic, so to speak, exists. And I think that just brings so much beauty to the world, brings more understanding to the world. And I think when we have those experiences, it can mean so much for the people experiencing it and the people that already experienced it, like myself. So I've enjoyed that. I've was taking photos as if I was a tourist, like I haven't been here for 6 years, but it's kind of just I just love that feeling. So take those experiences with new people and enjoy yourselves, because sometimes things can surprise you as far as just what can come up from it. But speaking of that, like things that come up from conversations, I was talking to my mom. Mom called me the other day because she listened to the episode about the whole Costa Rica situation, and she asked me, she was like, so what's up with this whole kidnapping situation? And I obviously had to tell her the story about like what that was about, but we started talking about just different aspects of our lives, and she kind of brought up this really interesting point of the fact that parents don't really know their kids that much, and kids don't really know their parents. And of course, like, we know maybe likes and dislikes and things like that, but our actual life experiences, especially like when your kids leave the house and they start living their own lives, like they start having experiences that are more distant than their parents. And like you've had those experiences as well, I'm sure. But as we kind of grow in our lives, we start, living our own experiences, and we have to start thinking about like, wow, like our parents also lived their own experiences. And parents think about their kids that have grown and left the house, like, wow, they're living their own experiences. So this was kind of like just something that opened that conversation up to realizing that, wow, like we are dynamic people. And even if we've lived years with each other, we still may not fully understand everything that anyone's dealing with, or everything that anyone has, gone through in their lives, which I think is something just kind of very telling. And I think it can be something that brings us more compassion in the moments when we're speaking about people or speaking to people. We can realize that our life experiences, and no matter how much we think we know each other, our life experiences have brought us to the understandings that we have now and brought us to be who we are now. And there's no way that everyone can fully understand who is in front of them. There's no way someone can fully understand that. I mean, people go to therapy for years, and there's still new things that therapists are being told by their clients. It's something that always happens because we are so dynamic, and we have so many experiences in our lives that culminate to this moment right now that we're living, and the person that you are right now. So I think it's just really amazing, and I love having those conversations because my mom and I won't really speak for we don't speak every day like most, like a lot of people speak to their parents every day. I don't really speak to my mom every day, but when we do have conversations, it's like an hour and a half, 2 hours long of just kind of speaking about things, like whether it's just things going on in our lives or just like those deeper conversations that get at greater understanding in ourselves and the things that we understand about each other and the world around us. And I love when those conversations start opening up in that way, and it can come out of just that honesty and that purity and that want to have that conversation. I think so much when we can just dive under just a little bit under a different layer, we can realize that there's so much under that layer, and it can lead us even deeper. So have those conversations with people, have those conversations with your parents or your family, and or people that you just care about. And I think that you'll find that you can understand so much more about people, and maybe even understand more about yourself as you have these conversations, which is just the ultimate goal in life, is just to grow and expand and share our experiences. But I'm going to get going with this episode. Thank you so much for all these topics that you're sending in. I love every single one of them. Everything.sunpodcast@gmail.com. If you have any topics or thoughts or anything that you like to send in, I love everything, everything that comes in. So thank you for these topics. I have to go through this box and kind of see how many are in here. Maybe do another box episode because of all the topics coming in. But thank you for this. My stomach is growling. I'm not sure if that that was just picked up, but I don't know why I'm so hungry. Is this something that's happening with anyone else? But for the past 3 weeks, I've wanted to eat constantly, like nonstop, constantly, just keep eating. Like even after being really full, I keep wanting to eat more, which is kind of crazy. But it's been pretty bad. But I've definitely been on this weird kind of hunger binge. I haven't actually been feeding into it because I know that like I'll just eat snacks and stuff all day, but I definitely still just feel hungry a lot more. But anyway, the topic for this week, thank you for sending those in, everything.sunpodcast@gmail.com or in the social medias I'm going to link at the end of this. So the topic for next week is going to be collaboration. And yeah, I think this is going to be an amazing topic because collaboration encompasses so many different aspects, and it's something that I didn't realize and didn't appreciate until recently. Because collaboration is it's part of it is it's a partnership. It's a asking for help. It's asking for someone to fulfill another side of whatever you're collaborating on. It involves trust. I think that so many layers of collaboration is something that we don't instill within ourselves, so we don't feel able to ask for help. We don't feel able to trust someone else to hold up their end of whatever you're collaborating with. So, collaboration, I think that's an amazing topic. Not sure where I'm going to go with it yet, but just a few ideas percolating here. But anyway, collaborations talk for next week. And this week, the conversation is about time. And this is something that it had so many different layers to it. I wanted to originally, when I pulled the topic, I wanted to go into that idea of just like the metaphysical idea of time and what is time, does it really exist kind of thing. But I realized that although that's relevant in some ways, there is a relevance that comes like back down to earth, something that is more attuned to the things that we are impacted by. And that's the feeling like, maybe sometimes we just don't have enough time, or this feeling of not having time, and whatever that may be. And, I wanted to kind of get at this topic and didn't really know really how to articulate what this meant for people. And then I was going through Twitter and then I saw this tweet that someone had posted, and I was like, this hits the nail on the head as far as just everything that I've been thinking about with this idea of time. And it comes down to, again, well, this is the tweet that happened. It wasn't by me, it was by someone else. But the tweet was, I'm only 20 years old. Why do I feel like I'm running out of time? And so many people resonated with that as far as just commenting, like feeling as though they're in that same position, feeling as though they're older and feeling that same thing, feeling as though, it's just, there are just so many things that people are feeling that resonates with that. And it made me realize like that this is what it comes down to. This idea of time, we feel like it's this sacred thing, but why do we feel like it's sacred? We only feel that it's sacred because we feel as though we have to do certain things within that time. We have to do certain things by a certain time. And these are all expectations that are brought on from outside of us. There's so often that I like to bring up this idea of just like, if there was no one else around, there's no one else to, judge you or expect you to do anything or be any place in life, would you feel pressed for time? Would there be a pressure to do anything, like at a certain point? I mean, I'm sure like within yourself, you'd want to just do stuff, but there wouldn't be a pressure of time. There wouldn't be this pressure of, oh, do I have enough time to do this? Like, am I too late for doing this? Have I gone too much time without doing this that this isn't the right time to start? We have so many doubts that come up in our heads, but they're coming from outside of us. And when I ask people to break down that idea of if no one else was around, a lot of their thoughts come back to you. They have to come back to you. Because when you realize that this thought isn't something that's coming from me, that this feeling isn't something that resonates with me, and it doesn't resonate with you because you don't feel good thinking about it. That's something that we have to realize, is that our feelings are so telling for us. And expectations around us are going to impact those feelings so often. Whether it's expectations from society and social media, we've had an episode about that. Social expectations, social obligations, and social media. A lot of these things that come down to this idea of time, and as I speak more about this conversation, it's going to become relevant that this idea of time, it really encompasses everything that's been spoken about in this podcast. Whether it's social obligations, whether it's social media, whether it's fears, whether it's expectations, whether it's dreams, whether it's, it's everything that we aspire towards, everything that impacts us in life comes down to the things that we feel we want to do for ourselves and how much time we feel we have to do it. So these expectations are coming from everywhere, from society, from social media, from previous generations. Like we all have had parents or grandparents that will tell us different things, and their parents told them things, and generation after generation we're told things that make us feel as though we have to do certain things by a certain time. Maybe it's past experiences that are coming into that expectation. Maybe you feel as though you haven't done something in the past, or you haven't done enough things in the past to get you to where you feel you need to be in the time that this is now. But at the end of the day, it's like, what are these past experiences, and what is that expectation to be in a certain place right now? I mentioned this in the previous episode. So often we let our past experience dictate what we do right now in this moment. And there's so many people that will think, oh, I haven't done this in so long, or, I haven't trained myself over the years to start doing this now, so there's no point in me starting now. I don't have time to do that now. But at the end of the day, the time is now. This is the moment. And we let those past experiences cloud our judgment and cloud our ability to see that we can start that journey at any moment that we feel it's time for us to start that journey. Our future worries, the things of, am I going to be good enough to succeed? If I start on this journey right now, like, will it be enough time to get to where I want to go? We have these doubts of just the things that aren't even here. And this is all related to time, past and future. Like, this is something that we kind of live our lives in, and not really allowing ourselves to live in the present. We live our lives worried about things that have happened and things that will happen, and we don't let ourselves live in this time right now, allow ourselves to be in this time right now. And as I spoke about before, it's like, there are these things outside of us that are impacting us in different ways, in different areas of our lives, and mentally clouding our minds with just disillusion. And we have to realize, how are these things that are being told to you integrating into the things that you want for yourself? Because that's what's happening. We have wants and we have desires. We have things that we feel within ourselves, truly, things that we want so badly within ourselves. And yet we're fighting ourselves in our mind. We're at this war with ourselves, as if our thoughts are just compacting with our feelings and the things that we want to feel and things that we want to think, and causing us to be in this weird state of just not being okay, because we're constantly trying to make sense of everything that's happening, when the only thing that we have to make sense of is the things that we're truly feeling for ourselves. As I said before, these things outside of us are going to impact our feelings. They're going to impact the things that we actually feel within ourselves. But where are those feelings coming from? And what are they telling you? Because those negative feelings, those bad feelings, when you think about that time crunch, when you think about those expectations that are put on you, do they make you feel good? And if they don't make you feel good, then that's very telling that it's not good. It's not in line with what you're truly feeling within yourself. Some people are motivated by that pressure. Some people are motivated by just that kind of like time constraint, or that's something that drives them. But there are other things that impact them, as far as just if they have enough time to do certain things. But again, like, the expectation of time, it comes on different levels. But as we integrate that into like what we feel and what we think and what we want to do in life, we have to realize how we're being impacted. How are these thoughts from outside of us, these expectations from outside of us, impacting the things that we truly feel for ourselves? And just as we feel those negative things and we realize that's not in line with what I want, what are the things that make you feel good? Those are the things that are in alignment with your true self. Those things that make you feel good. Like, think about it. Like, they're these things that bring you up, that lift you up, that make you feel motivated and empowered and loved. Those are the things that are in alignment with who you are. The things that make you feel bad and down and depressed and anxious, those things aren't in line with who you are. Now, they're all part of, your existence. Now, don't get me wrong, they're all part of your existence and your experience, and they will help you to grow. But you have to realize what you want to grow out of. You want to grow out of the darkness. You want to grow out of that worry and that anxiety. But what are you growing towards? We have to pay attention to the things that are feeling good for us, the things that feel right for us, so we know what we're going towards. When people hold on to their dreams, when I say hold on to your dreams and go for them and don't let that doubt come into your mind, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that there are so many times that we have these negative things that are coming outside of us, and they make us forget almost the passion and the amazing feeling that comes from the dreams that we have and the things that we want to aspire towards. We have to remind ourselves of these things that we truly feel, the things that are truly in alignment with what we want, in order for us to grow out of the darkness, in order for us to realize that we're not running out of time, we're in the right time, we're in our time. We've heard the saying before, the time is now, but the time is now for you. And it's not the time is now for you to do the things that other people are saying you should be doing. The time is now for you to decide what the time is now for you to do. It all comes down to us. Our experiences, it comes down to us. Not the past, not the expectations of the future, but right now, in this moment, what do you want? What do you feel? And it doesn't mean that you have to jump into action to start, gaining all those things in your life. It can start by the smallest thing, which is sometimes the biggest thing, which is just understanding yourself more, understanding the pieces of yourself more, recognizing your feelings and acknowledging them. Just because you feel, if you feel happiness from something that is maybe what you also believe to be unorthodox, then forget the unorthodox part and go with that feeling of happiness. And ask yourself, how can I bring this happiness? How can I grow out of the darkness of this anxiety and move more towards this happiness that I know that I feel for myself? But we can't have that comparison unless we recognize it. We have to recognize the good feelings within us, because there are so many things outside of us that are going to be telling us you're doing it wrong. and it's something that is so false and something that we so readily believe. False information constantly. And it's something that we have to stop ourselves and realize this isn't true. Just because it's right for you doesn't mean it's right for me. Just because the time is now for you doesn't mean the time is now for me. Our lives and where we want to go depends on what we want for ourselves. Is this that time for you? Then go for it. Is it the time for you to reflect and learn more about yourself? Then go for it. Is it the time for you to sit back and just try to understand life and the ways that you're being impacted by it? Then let that be, because everything, all of those things are going to add to that experience of getting to where you want to go. Understanding yourself more, becoming more in line with yourself, trusting yourself more is going to lead you to taking those steps. Maybe those actionable steps that you've been waiting for. Maybe that the ones that you've been worried about. The ones that you thought you didn't have enough time for, yet you're doing it now. You're succeeding in it right now because you're acting on it and you're doing it. And whether that action, again, is just mentally working on yourself, emotionally attuning yourself, whatever that may look like for you, you have to determine what the time is now for you. So we have to live now in this moment, in this time right now. We are not in the past. It is not the future yet. Live now in this moment without those restrictions, without those expectations, whether they're externally imposed or internally imposed. We are in a constant battle with our own truths. And let me tell you this, you are the winner, but you have to realize that you're the winner. Because the world around you, again, is going to tell you that you are wrong, but it's not for them to decide. It's not for anyone except for you to decide. So what do you want to do? What is this time now for you? Yes, you have enough time. You are not running out of time. No matter what age you are, whether you're 20, whether you're 50, whether you're 90, if you still have dreams, if you still have goals and passions and things that you feel within yourself, it is your time. It's your time. And never let anyone else tell you differently. There are two things that I kind of want to close this episode out with, and this is one, a response to that tweet. Again, I'm only 20 years old. Why do I feel like I'm running out of time? There was a response to that tweet, and then something else that is also a tweet that I wanted to kind of share. And I think that both of these may just help to just realize that life is not on any specific timeline, and that we have the chance to make everything that we want for ourselves in this moment, without feeling pressured, without feeling rushed, without feeling the expectations of those things around us. We can be and we can do all the things that we want for ourselves. So the response was from this guy, and he said, "In my early 20s, I thought I had it all. I owned property, had a career, was married. When deployed, she had an affair, sold the property, and kept the money, and I was out on disability from an injury. 33, now living my very best life. There's no time limit to happiness. You've got this." And I think that's something that so many people can resonate with. And at the end of the day, it really comes down to, no matter what time it is in your life, you can change it in this moment. You can shift it in the direction that you want to see it in this moment. Even if everything behind you, even if everything in the past, again, this moment that no longer exists, even if things in the past have led you to this moment is this moment. And you can change it if you want to. You have time to change it into the way that you want to see it. But you just have to know that you have that time. You have to know that you have that space to do it. And this is the last thing that it's actually something that popped up before I started recording. So this was like even days later after the original tweet. But this is something I thought, was a great way to kind of close this out as far as just with this whole idea. There was another tweet and it said, breathe. It all doesn't have to happen today. And this is something that I think, again, we fall into that time hole of feeling as though I have to get this done right now, right here in this moment. I had a to-do list and I had the same pressures that was put on me by myself, but after I asked myself, what are these pressures being put on me? A lot of them were externally based, at the root of them, they were externally based. I feel as though there are people that accomplish their to-do list in a day, like longer list than this, and I should be able to accomplish this. I should be able to do this. All this idea of shoulds and shouldn'ts that I've spoken about before, it makes us feel like we're in a place we're not supposed to be when everything is your time. It's your time. It's your path. It's your journey. So figure out your journey in the way that it fits for you. And everything doesn't have to fit in this one day. Even if you take that big goal and you break it down into tiny, tiny steps, maybe it's just writing a list out. Maybe it's making a phone call. It can be the smallest things that's moving towards the things that we want for ourselves, but you're moving towards the things that you want for yourself. And that's the only thing that matters. Right now, in this moment, you're not thinking about the regret. You're doing the things that you want to do. And again, even if that doing is reflecting on yourself, something that maybe you've needed to do for a while or wanted to do for a while, that is your time for it. So do the things that you want to do today and leave everything tomorrow for tomorrow. Leave everything in the past. We grow from our past. We don't live in it. So live for now and create the future that you want for yourself. But always live for now. Live in this moment and according to your truth. So that's really all I have for this episode. I do want to do I'll probably do another episode where it's more on that heady time aspect, because I know that as I had a conversation with a few people, I know that there's definitely a lot of thought going around this idea of time. So I just wanted to hit on this point because I think this is the one that's more down to earth and kind of can hit home for a lot of us in these day-to-day situations that we kind of have to deal with, So yeah, I hope this was something that was good, maybe something that maybe inspired you in some kind of way to realize that you're amazing just the way that you are and you can do anything that you want. And I think that's just timeless, really. So yeah, that's all I got. If you have any thoughts or ideas or anything that you'd like to share maybe about this topic or any other topic, you can send those to everything.sunpodcast@gmail.com. You can join the social media pages, Instagram @everything.sunpodcast, Twitter @everysunpodcast, or join the Facebook group @everysunpodcast as well. So yeah, that's all I got. Remember, your time is now. Don't let anyone tell you differently. I love you all, and I will see you next time.